Greetings, everybody. It's the 22nd of March, and this is, I've lost track, it's somewhere around the 8th week, the end of the 7th, or beginning of the 8th week of of this current regime. I don't call it an administration, for a bunch of reasons. One of which is the fact that its existence is legally dubious, even because of the 14th Amendment, but that's beside the point. So I said something in my video that I released for the situation with the illegal deportations and violations of the court orders that were taking place. I said that. I made some comments about a concept called rest as resistance, or fake it till you make it. And this is something that I think is is valuable for us to behave as if this stuff, for example, the violations of the court orders and things like that, to behave as if it is not happening. And one thing that I'm very grateful for so far, and this is one reason why I look at this and I say that this is a very disorganized process. Nobody, the person that was actually detained, there were several people that were sent down illegally. We do not know. Unfortunately, we don't know who they are, but I have no information that they were involved in any kind of political activity before they were deported. Deportation is the wrong word because it was illegal. Before they were in this operation, I have no information that suggests that. And so, but there was someone who was involved in the deportation system illegally again. This time it was under legislation. I'm not sure which legislation. It was probably some clause of the Patriot Act. I'm not sure which legislation Mahmoud Khalil was detained under, but it was it was certainly against the First Amendment, but at least it was legislation. He has not been sent, miraculously, has not been deported in any way yet. He is still in a facility within the United States. Who knows how long that's going to last. But so there was a lot of the reason why I was so concerned when I made that video is because I was listening to people. And there's one of them, her channel name is Parkrose Permaculture. You can go there. She does do good reporting, I would think. But she's also, she's definitely somebody that is a non-believer. And so if that's not something that you're prepared for, then that's... just pay attention to that. And so, like, this ways, I don't think that she's perfect. She's also fairly deep. She speaks in a lot of general terms, and she is more of a well-heeled person. Well-heeled. But she's a whole variety of things, as we all are, and just I don't think that she's perfect in her leadership, but she's getting better at it and taking the mantle that she's been given, and I'm proud of her in that way. Anyway, that was probably like 2 minutes. But she did kind of conflate those two concepts. And we're not at the stage where people, or we could be, who knows, but at least one person that was detained by this system has for expressly political reasons, and this person has a green card, Mahmoud Khalil. At least one person has not been sent to this camp, and that is something that we should be grateful for. I honestly think, and Trump himself has actually gone on and on and on about how he would never directly violate a court order, always appeal, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he's changing his tune now. He's starting to, and that's disturbing. But I really don't think that this is very coordinated at all. But in any case, whether this is really happening or not, I think that it is, until the very end, it's a very good idea to just act as if it's not happening. And because it's not good for our cause. It's not in a fickle, not with fickle people like the American people are now. It is not good for our cause to be operating and making it obvious that people are getting detained for political reasons. And I don't like how people will bandy about those terms and they won't talk about it in an actionable way. And there's a ton of people on our side that are making this mistake. A ton of them. Even Rick Wilson just did it this week. He talked about when people get sent to camps for disagreeing and blah, blah, blah. And you don't say when. Like, that's something that is the end of the human race, probably. Unless it ends very, very quickly. And so we just have to operate like this is not happening. And I think that there's none of this weakness that we're seeing with these people is coming to an end. That's another thing that we're seeing now. So another thing that just happened is, and this is moving towards more of a comprehensive attack on court orders, is he is signing executive orders now again to dismantle the Department of Education, which is illegal. Like, he's not dismantling it, he's just being a criminal. But and does it change? And this is a very personal thing to me because I'm in school. I will be in school soon, and we'll have to see how much of an effect this has. I might have to leave soon after I go back because of this. But remember that this is not actually, and this is something we can say to the end of the world. We can say it until we're blue in the face, unfortunately. But this is not dismantling an agency. This is somebody committing a bunch of crimes. But it might have the effect of disrupting that agency and making it difficult to get it back up and running. But he is doing these criminal acts that were already done to the Foreign Aid Department, to the USAID Agency for International Development. after a court order had said that that was unconstitutional. I am pretty sure that this is unconstitutional as well. But he's doing it. He's doing it anyway, and that is a little bit disturbing. At least he's rehiring people in the federal workforce. But if he's going to do the same illegal things again, then it is disorganized, but it's more organized than I thought it was. Let me put it that way. He understands that he is breaking the law, which is a lot, actually, because, again, he has Alzheimer's, and that's one of the main things that's been going for us so far. But it's a lot that he seems to actually understand now that his goal is to break the law. And that is what we saw coming out of Carolyn Levitt as well, which was the subject of the midweek video, which I hope I don't have to make these in the middle of the week overall, so that if I ever do, that this is something really serious. So, and about that federal workforce, all the rehiring, is that it's actually quite dangerous anyway, because these people are still on administrative leave. They're getting paid, which is good for the economy. And just the very fact that he's listening to a court order. But it's a double-edged sword, because the whole way that this stops is that the economy falls apart. And so it's actually very dangerous that that the federal workforce, that the U.S. economy. This is something that was pointed out to me by somebody else who painted it in a glowing light, and it was like, this is not glowing. The economy needs to suffer, because we have to be able to dislodge this stuff. So there's one more bit of news that I really got, and then I'll talk about actual strategy to deal with the changes that have happened this week, because they are pretty monumental. But one more bit of news is that a Republican at a town hall, a Republican representative, it would be better if it was a senator, but it's something, Representative Malloy of Crystal, I believe, Crystal Malloy. I don't know her exact name, but from Utah, I believe Utah's 3rd district. She held a town hall, and beyond just holding a town hall, because a lot of them have done that and they've mocked their constituents, but she actually said that when I go back, I'm going to start to take action against the executive. And if any of you live in that district and you can thank her, that would be great of you, because this is a Republican that is doing the right thing, and that's unheard of right now. And we need to thank these people so that they are convinced to do more of this. So that is some very good news that happened today. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's happening now that he's actually going after court orders. And thank you, Malloy. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It says that you're not, that if you don't live in her district, the emails won't come to her, which is something that I understand in a normal time. Like, that's a choice that I respect for every representative who is there to serve their constituents. It was a little inconvenient to me though, because I just wanted to thank her from the bottom of my heart. And I really hope that she does this 10 times more, and I hope that she feels good about what she's doing and gets as much support as she's going to get hate, because she will get hate from people for doing this, unfortunately. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Representative Malloy. So, when it comes to strategy, I listened to something from somebody, ex-military. So she was familiar with a lot of the, and she participated in logistics at the DoD level and the enlisted level. So she really knows what she's talking about. And I think I'll link this to you, this video to you, y'all. I will link this to you. The video it's about supposedly the wellness farms of the HHS secretary, which shame on him. I thought that he was better than this. Shame on him. Shame on RFK Jr. But anyway, the wellness farms, which are camps of some kind, forced labor facilities, probably. The wellness farms, and but what it really was about the kinds of totalitarian scenarios that I talk about more generally. And what she was basically saying, and there are parts of it I agree with and parts of it I disagree with. Like, there are real stakes to what's going on now, and one of them is the end of mankind, unfortunately, if things go really bad. But what she was basically saying is that we should, even when we're in these camps, until the day that we have actually perished, we should keep on trying. And that is a good spirit to have. That's a good attitude to have. And it goes along with whether it's intelligent or not, it is valuable and it will help us. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this is what I was talking about with the fake it till you make it thing, is that it is valuable for us as things get worse. And this also ties into a lesson number, I think 16 or something. Stay calm when the unthinkable arrives. That's basically fake it till you make it. Act like things are normal when they're not. Not in terms of don't talk about it, but do talk about it. Don't give up just because it makes sense to give up. And that is something that I think is valuable, the fake it till you make it thing. And what she basically said was that even in a totalitarian system, there would be opportunities very quickly, in fact, to roll that totalitarianism back. And I've heard similar things from other people that were active duty military, and we should take part in those. There's end-to-end encryption and stuff like that. If you do intend to be there at more of the advanced stages, I would advise that you get an older smartphone, or a smartphone from a company like Fairphone, rather than a standard model, because a lot of the new ones have AI that spies on you, and that's not a good idea. So it's not a good idea to use those things. So that's what I have to say about that. There are people that are refusing to give up, and I'm proud of them. So the other thing is that a lot of these, and she did touch on that in her video as well, the video I'm going to be linking to, did touch on this as well, the logistical aspect of it. I'm going to talk about it more generally, though. Most totalitarian regimes, you see it with Saddam, you see it with Germany in the fascist era, you see it with the Nazi era, you see it with just call it what it is. You see it with Soviet Russia as well. They basically missed out on the entire Great Depression and forcibly industrialized. And that did create some level of prosperity. Most of these totalitarian regimes start with some kind of prosperity and competent management. We're not seeing that with this one. And so I think that there will be, like, a good analogy to a lot of this is the Yeltsin years. And that took like 7 to 10 years to dismantle Russia before Putin came along. And even during much of the early Putin era, there were a lot of opportunities to rebuild Russia democratically. Those opportunities were not taken, but they existed. And I think that that's a better analogy because we don't usually see this much disorganization in totalitarian regimes that are actually able to pull it off. And so it is a lower probability scenario. A lot of these things, whether they happen or not, the building of a comprehensive system, even though there have been people that have talked about it. Marco Rubio, all the way back when he made his deal with El Salvador, did that. But it doesn't have to actually happen. And that's something that, but even if it does, there are people that will refuse to give up. I don't know how much impact it will have. The stakes are high. This could be the end. I do think that video a little bit towards the end blows a little bit of sunshine, but there is a point of no return, but we're not there, and there's just a lot of incompetence right now, and that's something that we can take advantage of. And there's also a lot of the economic stuff is working so far. The intentional economic protests are really working well. So, but there's a clock, and that clock is ticking, and eventually, who knows whether it will be months or years, that clock will tick to zero unless we stop it before then. And it did happen to Russia. We can blow it. Doesn't matter how weak the people that are trying to take over society are. If we are weaker, or if we let them take over, that's a problem, and they will win. And one final point of comfort that I'm going to give is that a lot of the people, Park Rose Permaculture, myself, and I'm far from perfect, but I am in recovery at least. I might tell you a little bit more about my story towards the end, but I was maybe towards the end of my readings from my paper, but I had an extremely fairly brutal childhood. A lot more extreme, I think, than what is historically normal. It's sadly quite normal in the U.S. today. There was a lot of abandonment and stuff like that. And I'm grateful that I have even what I have today of a nice home to live in. It's not perfect, but it's there. I'm grateful for what I have. But I had a brutal childhood and I responded to it for like half a decade or something almost by becoming by developing this narcissistic personality, this shell that I could just pretend to not care and I could pretend to be better than other people, and that way I wouldn't have to feel. And I've been in recovery from that for like 3 years now. So I know but I'm seeing it with a lot of these people. Actually, a lot of these new opposition leaders are people that are in recovery, and they're using language that came out of psychotherapy and out of recovery communities, and that is very good, because like when I talk about how the American people are the problem, like we are the problem, that's something I talk about a lot in my paper and outside. When I talk about how the fundamentals are against us, I'm talking about a very specific kind of us, and it's not people that are in recovery. It is the rest of the country, maybe, and we have those, but we have those flaws, but we're moving away from them. The fundamentals are not against people in recovery. If this whole country were people in recovery, well, first of all, we wouldn't have had the election results we did, but we would be much more likely to defeat them. There's a chance that he may have already been impeached by now, if this whole country was that. And I'm very happy that our leadership that is emerging is people like that. And so that's really a final point of comfort. God bless you all, and I hope that you will need it. We will all need it now. This is crunch time, and I hope that you all have a good week. I will be seeing you soon. Whenever I release this video, I will be seeing you soon after with my reading. And until then, take care. God bless you.